Welcome back to Oulton Park, where you join us for the start of race 2. Always the hearts are beating for this one. The championship could be won here by John Reynolds. He's 38 points in the lead of Michael Rutter at the moment. He's just behind me here on the grid, nice and quiet. The big worry is, once again, the weather, because in the distance, the wind has got up again. It's dark clouds around, but at the moment, obviously, perfectly dry. I just have a word with the man himself, who's just looking out of the corner of his eye to see what he thinks. But it's windy again, and that could mean that there's more rain coming, John.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you rightly say, Jonathan, you know, the clouds are coming past so fast that you can't see sort of any more than 3 or 4 minutes ahead of what's going to happen. So, as you can see, really.
I don't suppose you've made any changes after a great race 1?
No, not at all. No, we're pretty happy with the way the bike is at the moment, and fingers crossed the weather's going to stay dry, and we'll get a full race in.
All right. Well, I hope to see it at the end of it, and I hope that it'll all go well for you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Cheers, mate, and let's move on the court to the other man who can win the championship, of course, Michael Rutter. And Michael, we've just been talking to John. We were looking at the clouds and the weather, but what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's going to stop dry, hopefully, anyway.
And presumably, therefore, no worries about tyres this time. It's just straight there and get that start.
Yeah, same as like really both times those races. Really, just the same tyres, same everything.
Did you learn anything from race 1?
Yeah, got to go quicker.
Fair enough. That's what you do learn. Blade is going to try and go quicker if he can. Once again, Dean Thomas starts second. We'll go a little bit further back because I want to see if... there he is. The look in his eye says it all. Steve Plater, what a great start he had at the beginning of race 1. Back to what we've seen you before. I'm glad to say that you are, even though you're starting from the second row, just as fast as any of these boys this afternoon.
Yeah, without that, you know, just a case of building myself back up. But I'm quite happy, I'm quite comfortable. I was whinging about 1 or 2 problems I had in the first race, but who wasn't, you know? Yeah, it's just good to be back racing against the front guys.
Just at the right time of the year, too.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the shop window.
Well, take a good look. It's Steve Plater, number 4. And he's here on the 3rd row. And what about it today? It's starting to cloud over again.
Yeah, it's been a real tough weekend for me, to be honest. We were missing Friday and first time round the Superbike here, and I didn't do the first round here. I've sort of been trying to catch up all the time. We're getting closer and closer to it, but I suffered a bit of 4-round pump in the first race and I was really struggling, but I'm going to give it my best shot again, and everybody's so competitive, I just don't know what's going to happen.
Just to explain arm pump, because not everybody out there knows what it is. A lot of motocrossers get it too, but this track brings it on as well. We're just talking about the physicality of it all. Basically, your muscles just get toe point till they go cramp, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're constantly working and wear your right wrist, you know, accelerating and braking really hard. There's a lot of real heavy braking around here, and I just got to the point where, you know, mentally I was squeezing the brake as hard as I could and I wasn't really stopping, so it gets to the point where it gets a bit dangerous, so I had to let it go. I'm glad the race got stopped in the first one. Give me a second chance.
A little bit of a break, a little bit of a rest. Okay, let's move on, and can just see Gary Mason was just having a quick chat there. Gary, while you're doing your media frenzy, have another chat with us. Good start last time out, but it went backwards at the end. Why?
Yeah, I had some front fork problems. Basically, they've all seized up. So they were seizing up during the first one, and by the second one, basically they were going down and sticking and wouldn't release. We've got new forks in now, so hopefully we can do the same again, but this time stay up there.
This year's or last year's?
Yeah, last year's.
Last year's, okay, fair enough. Yeah, there's been a big fork thing with the Yamaha team. In fact, Tommy Hill puts the fact that he went and tried the 03 forks at the beginning of the weekend and he just couldn't find any use of them. James Hayden's done really well on them, and as you hear them from Gary, he's now trying them out there. So it's all been a bit of a fork problem for Hayden and the boys, and at Yamaha it's all been a bit, well, up and down really. Let's find out what's going to happen. It's getting cloudy, Keith. Who knows?
Here we go then. Race 2, and that was almost a jump start from the Sendoji Caddy man of Dean Thomas. Others might say that it was well anticipated, but it is Rutter again from the 2 Suzukis that are out in front. Then it's Dean Thomas. Down to Cascades we go. Who's it going to be that appears first? 3, Rutter, 2,
look at
Reynolds.
James Ellison.
James Ellison right there. Well, he's got nothing to lose now.
Brilliant.
James Ellison on bike 17. It is the Gen 10 Yamaha. He is in what? 4th place as it is at the moment. 5th place indeed, just behind Dean Thomas. So watch out with the yellow number plate, signifying, of course, the Privateer Superbike Cup.
Dean Thomas around Kageyama.
Yes, brilliantly as well. Got the power through Ireland. Oh, wow! Kageyama almost hit him up the back, and James Ellison almost got the ride around the outside of him.
Yeah, Kageyama quite comfortable behind his teammate John Reynolds. But James Ellison, the man on the mission, just won that Privateers Cup Championship. Fantastic. A World Superbike rider, MotoGP rider and British Superbike rider all in one season, and he has got nothing to lose, as you say, and on a mission, number 17, James Ellison on the R1 Gen 10 Yamaha.
On Pirelli tyres as well, worth mentioning as well. So Pirelli really up in their game through World Superbike, and here now, well, We've got quite a ride going on here with Rutter and Reynolds again. These are the two, the main protagonists as far as the championship is concerned. Thomas is still there in third on bike number 12, the Sendo Ducati. Out of Druids for the first time. Look at Ellison.
Oh, it's Kawasaki down. It's John McGuinness.
It was McGuinness. McGuinness is
John Reynolds underneath Rutter into Lodge.
Forces his way through into Lodge. Yeah, runs wide, so gives the HM Plant Honda an opportunity to get back by against. And still it is Kagayama that's putting Dean Thomas under pressure for that third place, fourth place. Yep, he's through. He's gone through on bike 71. Dean Thomas goes back to fourth then. Then it is still James Ellison that's right there from the wavy
yellow flags on the Cascades, no passing.
Must have been where McGuinness went down. James Ellison, bike 17, in front of the Monster Bob Ducati of Sean Emmett.
James Ellison, brilliant. I know Peter Clifford and the WCM team over the moon with him and their MotoGP team, but they used them at Czechoslovakia, used them at Portugal, and it looks like he might be down for a few more rides to the end of the season, but just showing his class there in front of Sean Emmett.
Through Shell, out of Shell, on towards Folkestone chicane. Still it is Rutter from Reynolds. Rutter 3, Reynolds 2. Then it's Yukio Kagayama giving himself a little less of a task to do in this race 2 than he did in race 1. Oh, off we go. Gary Mason, whatever his problem was, it looks terminal.
It certainly does.
Out of this race goes Gary Mason on the Virgin Mobile Samson Yamaha. Meanwhile, most eyes are focused on the front. Clay Hill we come to. Up and over Clay Hill. Still it is 3. Michael Rutter from 2. John Reynolds, 71. I'll tell you what, James Ellison has got a jump start. It's just come up on our monitor. Number 17, James Ellison. We wondered how he managed to get such a great start from where he was on the grid.
Oh, that's too bad.
It was the 4th row of the grid. He forced his way through. James Ellison, having won the Superbike Cup, has decided to throw caution to the wind at the start and give himself half a chance to be with these Superbike boys. And despite the fact he's 5th,
there goes Reynolds.
5th on the grid, he's going to have to come through for a drive-through. Reynolds is in front, but Rutter got better drive, I feel, then. Who's it going to be down into Cascades for the first time? Rutter again manages to force his way under Reynolds. But the two Rizzo Suzukis lining up behind the HM Plant motorcycle and Michael Rutter. Rutter has got to get 25 points here and hope that the man behind him has some awful luck.
Yukio Kagayama on the second Rizzo Suzuki there, looking more comfortable than he was in the first race, but you just wonder now, is he shadowing John Reynolds, or will he plan to attack?
Well, the championship at the moment, of course, Reynolds needs a 51-point lead if he is going to take this championship today, and he's on 38 at the minute, so the odds are, provided Michael Rutter rides to win, it'll all go to the wire at Donington Park, which is great for television, but no good for John Reynolds' nerves. Not to mention Michael Rutter and everyone else in the team. Lap 3 of 18. A long way to go in this Superbike race yet. In fact, it's settling down now. You can't rule out Dean Thomas either. Dean Thomas has hung on there in 4th place. His wife's here in pit lane at the minute, keeping an eye on what's going on. Enzo Di Clementi, the team owner of the Enza Ducati, sponsored by Sendo, the British manufacturer of telephones, mobile phones. They got involved with the start of the season here in the British Superbike Championship with Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas has given them a couple of pole positions, but no wins. Lap 4 of the 18. We are beginning now. Still Rutter out with the fastest lap at the moment. His fastest lap was on that last lap, as was Dean Thomas's, but Reynolds and Rutter have both been quicker in this race already.
Still a fair bit off the pace of race 1. They were down into the low 37s in race 1, but at the moment just in the mid 38s.
Still waiting for that ride-through penalty from James Ellison yet. I haven't seen him go under our commentary position. In fact, I feel he must have done. We must have just missed him as they whiz by.
No, I'm pretty sure he's still out there.
Rutter, Reynolds, Kagayama, Thomas, Emmett and Ellison is in 6th place. So yes, he came through, clicked our timing monitors. And a big shout to MST World as well. I want to see the timing people that give us all the accurate information. It is mstworld.com. Log on and take a look at what they do. It's a behind-the-scenes type situation for us, but we rely so heavily on what they give us. The information is absolutely the best. Up and over Clay Hill. still Rutter from Reynolds, from Kagayama. Still Dean Thomas and Sean Emmett, 4th and 5th. Through Druids now, where Yukio Kagayama was spinning the rear end of that Rizzo Suzuki in race 1. He's obviously decided he don't need to do that just yet. This was the point where he shoved Gary Mason out of the way to pick up a place on Gary Mason. Mason being luckless again in race 2. That Suzuki certainly winds up out of Deer's Leap, Neil.
It certainly does. Works good as John Reynolds goes through into Lodge down the inside, into Old Hall down the outside.
Yeah, but again, the Honda just a little bit better.
Turns it tighter.
Turns it tight, gets the power on immediately. That would frustrate John Reynolds.
Kagayama's alongside there. Kagayama gained a bit of time on John Reynolds there, but still at the moment looks like he's having to sit behind his teammate.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a bit of a penalty, I'm sure, at some stage in the season when you beat up your teammate, when the championship really is at a crucial stage here. A bit of interference from Yukio Kagayama, a la Mallory Park earlier on in the year, when really some uncalled for close attention from Mr. Kagayama. We questioned several times about team orders, and Paul Denning, well, I mean, we can go back if you like to Thruxton with Gregorio Lavia standing in for Kagayama when we had that crash where Reynolds clipped the rear end of his teammate. Really, it's all the kind of interference that Reynolds can do without. He really does need to concentrate on just getting the maximum amount of points up the inside of Rutter. Oh, nicely done, JR. A beauty. So Michael Rutter found himself on the outside. He knew Reynolds was coming. There's nothing he could do about it. Reynolds took the place and the line. And really, this is seriously going to affect this championship. 38 points is Reynolds' lead at the moment. If he beats Rutter into second place, that will be another 5 points that he gets, so it goes up to 43. But if Kagayama moves through, it's all but done.
47.
And of course, if Dean Bam Bam Thomas on the Sendo Ducati manages to sneak through as well, it's all done and dusted. We speculate, of course, wildly here in the commentary place. It is our job.
Well, John Reynolds in front, but Kagayama's the man with the fastest lap on that last lap of 138.0. Now it's Sean Emmett, the fastest lap, 137.913. So Sean Emmett is the man in the move. But now Kagayama, he's behind Rutter. We'll see if he's going to do a decent thing for his teammate John Reynolds and try and get past him.
Only 1/3 distance. This was JR making his move at his. And really, it was a lovely pass, wasn't it? It was nice and clean. And again, Michael Rutter showing that he's a good, clean, tidy rider and not letting him through, but certainly giving him the room.
Yeah, you can see Michael Rutter was on the brakes there, the rear end of that HM Plant Honda moving around, but John Reynolds nice and solid down the inside, but very clean passing manoeuvre. Kagayama now, he's having a look at Michael Rutter down the inside into Island. They're not quite close enough, but certainly staying on his rear wheel, looking to try and get in front and maybe go with his teammate John Reynolds.
Well, it's not over till the checkered flag. We are on 1/3 distance as far as this race is concerned. It's going to be a little bit about who interferes with Michael Rutter. Certainly, I think he's going to get a load of that from Yukio Kagayama. But taking him out of the equation, you've also got the Sendo Ducati and the Monster Mob Ducati that are lining up as well, but they just don't look fast enough to be on Rutter's pace. And if Reynolds is going to win the championship today, he's going to lead. Well, he's going to need one of their help, isn't he?
He certainly is. This race now, John Reynolds needs Kagayama and Dean Thomas between himself and Michael Rutter to take the championship, otherwise it's going to Donington.
Let me ask you a question, Neil. You know Kagayama quite well. You've worked with alongside the Rizzo Suzuki team, much to the consternation of some of the other teams, I must say. But when you're working alongside Kagayama, is he a smart man? Has he got this worked out, this championship? Will he make a pass on Rutter, knowing that if he slows Rutter up enough, interferes with Rutter enough, he may be able to get the two Ducatis behind him to close in and give his teammate the championship here and now?
No, there's no question he's smart. He doesn't say a great deal at times, but you know he's thinking about things all the time. Yeah, sure, he'll make an attempt to pass Michael Rutter, there's no question about that, but I'm not sure he's the kind of rider that will pass him and try and slow the pace of the race down. He wants to pass Michael Rutter, and I think as far as he's concerned, that would be a job well done, because it's taking points off Michael Rutter, giving them to JR, but there's no way he's going to pass him and slow down and try and take the race like that. That's just not him at all.
Well, confirmation from a man on the inside of the Rizzo Suzuki cap. And you've got to say, Kagayama, after that emotional win at Cadwell Park in the second race at Cadwell Park, he really has, well, he's been taken to the fans' hearts all around the British racing scene. He gives more than his best, 101% of the time. I've never known a foreign rider in a British Championship that has given so much to that championship. I know there's going to be a few that have come close, but Kagayama, his commitment, it can't be faulted anywhere.
No, not at all, and certainly through injury. I mean, the guy is still 85–90% fit. He needs another end of season. He needs another winter off to get back to full fitness, and his commitment under the strains, with the strains his body's been under, is just incredible.
The elite then. John Reynolds seemingly in control at the front of this field at the moment. Michael Rutter, nothing he can do this championship. Lap by lap is slipping away from Michael Rutter and the HM Plant Honda team. They came out of the traps fighting at Silverstone with a race win there before Reynolds and Rizzo Suzuki regathered their momentum. But really, Rutter and the Fireblade, of course, the Honda Fireblade that the HM Plant race bike is based on, really has been a superb machine as soon as it came out of the crate, albeit with full HRC race backing. I've never seen so many Japanese faces around in a British Championship in my life. Really, Honda came here to win, and they must be surprised. I don't say they underestimated what the Rizzo Suzukis were capable of, because the Suzukis have been around for a whole year previously and therefore had all the data and all the setup in advance of what Honda had got, and of course indeed Michelin as well. But you must be impressed that even when the might of Honda fires the best they've got at these Suzukis, you know, it's still difficult to beat them.
Certainly, and yeah, I'm sure they didn't underestimate the level this championship was at, because they came full factory on the Fireblades. They came the best support from Michelin from France as we watched Kagayama go underneath that Fireblade, going into his chicane. He came from a long way back there, but like JR, his bike was solid as he made that pass. Ran wide, Michael tried to go around the outside, but it wasn't going to happen.
The confidence at the front end that Yukio has sometimes. He does lunge from a long way back. That seems to be a bit of a hallmark of his. He seems to be too far back to make a pass, but he soon takes it on, doesn't he? He just gets himself in that position.
Well, the nature of his riding style, he's over the front of the bike and he can turn in, and he doesn't quite like real slow corners, and that's just a typical section of the track that suits his riding style. He's able to brake late, but turn in and control the bike.
Well, Kagayama has the fastest lap out there on the racetrack now, 1:37.4.
With a pass.
With a pass included in that. And do you know what? I think he's going to try and go for the win here. I am convinced, having seen the way Kagayama hasn't been ordered to stay behind John Reynolds at any time, I just feel that having passed Rutter now, I reckon he's going to go for the win.
Well, as Paul Denning, Rizzo Suzuki team manager, team owner, has said in the past, John Reynolds rides for Crescent Suzuki. Paul Denning is his boss. Yukio Kagayama's boss is Suzuki Japan. He's a fully paid-up rider of the Japanese Suzuki factory, and they are the guys that decide. And if they don't give him team orders, if they don't tell him what to do, then it's up to him what he does on the racetrack. So Paul Denning says he can advise him, but at the end of the day, Yukio Kagayama makes the decisions on the track.
Well, we've seen what he would do when he gets in close proximity to John Reynolds in earlier rounds this year. We thought he was a bit over the top. He's been what I did. I won't include you in that in case you get no more employment from that particular team. But you've got to say that Kagayama has pushed his luck fairly close to John Reynolds, and really interfering with JR, I don't feel would be fair at this point of the season. I mean, I'm a full mark for a racer. Yukio goes out to make the race and to win the race, but he's got to do it clean. He cannot afford to interfere with JR. He cannot afford to make a mistake like he did with Gary Mason earlier today, because that will be unforgivable at this stage of the season, in my view. No,
indeed, he's an intelligent rider, but you've got to say that he has got a strong package here, and he was able to catch JR quite quickly. So if he chose to make a move on JR and win this race, it looks like he has the potential to do so.
Still Michael Rutter in third place at the moment. In fourth place is Sean Emmett, who's displaced Dean Thomas. Steve Plater is down in sixth place. And Glenn Richards on the first of the Hawk Kawasaki's in seventh in front of James Hayden, Tommy Hill, Ryuichi Kianari, that of course is Rutter's teammate, and Mara Brown in 11th place at the moment. So Paul Brown there is in 11th. Best of the privateers, John Kirkham in front of James Ellison. We can assume, I suppose, that James Ellison has been in and taken his ride-through penalty, because basically he would have been black flagged by now if he hadn't come in and taken that penalty. So Ellison is on the same lap. He's behind Kirkham by some considerable margin at this moment in time. But never mind, he's already won the Superbike Cup for the privateers, so he can afford a bit of a jump start. Still, Reynolds and Kagayama. The Rizla Suzuki's riding, well, you've got to say, it's majestic, really, isn't it? The HM Plant Honda of Michael Rutter, he can only really look on. I mean, it almost defies just how good Rutter and the Honda is. There is Neil Tuxworth, team manager for Honda, and there is Paul Denning, team manager for Suzuki.
Just in case you didn't know, he's got his name on his headset there.
Yeah, that's because you keep stealing it, I'm told. Kenzie's got his own headset. Out of Nearly. Actually, having said what I said, that the UK is going to go for the win. Kagayama put the fastest lap in a little bit earlier on, but he seems to be comfortable sitting in there behind JR now, and he's just, yeah, he does look like he's backed it off a bit. I mean, he was putting JR under a bit of pressure for a while, but I think when it settled down and he probably saw that he definitely got the beat of Michael Rutter, maybe he has allowed himself the pleasure of being able to watch JR. How will that make the championship now? So if we've got 25 points for JR, he's on a 38-point lead over Rutter. Rutter will only get 16, so it'll be 47. So, well, that means that John Reynolds will only need to make 3 points more than Michael Rutter at any race of the final two at Donington Park, and he will be the British Superbike champion. That's a very nice position to go into the final round on, but of course disasters have happened in the past to riders that thought they got it in the bag, so I don't suppose we're going to hear that from John Reynolds particularly that he's got it covered.
And Chris Walker with Chris Suzuki is the one at Donington, very last race, had to finish the race basically in the position he was in.
And Neil Hodgson, well, he thought he'd just go out and ride, and in the end a blown motor cost Walker.
To be fair to Neil Hodgson had DNFs earlier in the year with engine failure, so it was pretty much very fair, but Chris Walker looked like he was the champion elect, but it just didn't happen.
Oh,
there
is Mason. Is it Mason? Could be Hayden, actually. It looked like Hayden. He looked mad enough. No, Hayden's still out there.
Virgin Yamaha rider.
It looked like Mason's eyes, I must say, but then again, occasionally James Hayden looks that wild. Poor old Gary Mason. He was looking as if he was going to have one of his best rides of the year, and it's been a disaster at Oulton Park in the end. I do feel sorry for him at the moment.
Yeah, best Yamaha rider out there is indeed James Hayden in 6th position, right behind Dean Thomas.
They've not had a great weekend.
No, unfortunately that's been the case at a few races this year, but Knock Hill was a high point race win for James Hayden on the R1 Virgin Mobile Yamaha.
Do you know what? I've just looked at my monitor really, and Hayden is now behind Chianari. Chianari's having one of his customary late charges in the race. He gave everybody a head start by about 20 seconds, and Chianari's now up to 6th place. Hayden's dropped back to 7th place, but he is of course in the race just in front of his teammate Steve Plater. Glenn Richards again just slipping down the order to 9th place. Tommy Hill is there in 10th place. Kieran Clark is in 11th place. Mara Brown in 12th. That's out to the moment. Craig Cottle on the V-Trans Honda on Pirellis is in 13th place at the moment. James Ellison, despite a drive-through, is in his customary position. That is leading the Superbike Cup race again. He's managed to get back in front of John Kirkham, and so Ellison is going to go out in style with 2 25-point wins here for the Superbike Cup and of course the championship.
The race pace here is very slow compared to the first race. They were regular in the 37s here, but they're all 38.3, 38.1 actually. Michael Rutter the fastest lap on that last lap, so he's closer to Yukio Kagayama, but not really in a position to pass him.
Well, the MP Racing Ducati, Michael Pensaval, he's not having a great day, is he? We saw a little bit of him in race 1. He's out of race 2 as well. The bike stopped with a technical problem for those of you at home that might be having a bit of a look out for Michael, but he's at trackside and taking no further part in this. But over the line comes John Reynolds. Full control Reynolds, 137.9 then compared with Kagayama's 138.1. Rutter still in 3rd place, 137.9 as well. So, Kagayama pretty close, you know. We're having a few reports, I can tell you, not from here, because I'm looking out the window at the moment. Some of our camera guys are telling us that we have a little bit of rain out on the other part of the track. They are past the 2/3 distance.
Yes.
So if the red flag comes out now,
it's a race.
It will be a race, and it will be in the order that it's in. And maybe Kagayama, because he's seen a bit of rain, is looking to pip John Reynolds. It's a little bit of rain outside, I'm told. One of our guys is outside there at the moment. Thanks, Mark. He's just given us a bit of an indication that we've got just spitting here at the start-finish line as well. So that could be, any second now, a red flag situation. And then we will see JR, 25 points to the better, 47 points in this championship, leading Michael Rutter as we go to the last round. We're watching for a red flag here. Marshals are running around in front of us. Don't see one yet. Lap 13, it's over 2/3 distance. If they hang a red flag out, that will be the race, and that will be a result, especially for John Reynolds. what he must have been thinking. Oh, Scott Smart is in. That's a great shame. Maggie, his mum, is just behind him. So Scott Smart, he's not had a good weekend here at Oulton Park. In fact, one of the worst weekends he's had all year, I think. 2, Reynolds. 71, Kagayama. And certainly 2 distinct halves to this track for these 2 Rizzler Suzukis. Reynolds is quick around that part of the track, and then Kagayama, all the way out and around to the chicanes, comes through pretty strongly.
Yeah, it was very similar in the first race with Michael Rutter and JR. Different halves of the track, different pace. Kagayama wobbling up down the avenue there, down to Cascade. 14 laps out of 18.
Yeah, and you can see Shelley to the right of Noriyuki Haga there. It's Noriyuki Haga from World Superbikes that's here from the Renegade Ducati team. And Shelley is, of course, John Reynolds' wife. And she's come in to give him the moral support that he needs, although he can be a feisty little devil in private when he's having a hard time. But today will be deemed one of those good days. I'm sure he'll want Shelley around at every race from this point onwards, because he's looking so good for this championship now. Look at that, he's got himself a lovely little lead. He's taken the pressure off himself big time there. Kagayama, well, tantalisingly just in front of Michael Rutter, but that will do Rutter no good at all. Rutter 6 on 16 points there. You get 20 for second, 25 for a win. Lap 14 is coming to a close. Rutter doesn't seem to have anything to answer here at all. Let's go for a quick rundown. Reynolds, Kagayama, Rutter, you can see them. Emmett is in 4th place. Thomas is in 5th place. Kianari is 6th now. Steve Blader is in 7th place. James Hayden, 8th. 9th is Glenn Richards. 10th is Tommy Hill. Kieran Clark is 11th. Paul Brown is in 12th place. 13th is Craig Coxall. And then the first of the privateers is James Ellison in 14th place overall, but the leading privateer. Rutter putting Kagayama under a bit of pressure, Neil.
He really is. John Reynolds in the first race, as soon as he saw rain or when it was raining, he stuck his hand up. But from what we can see, JR not too concerned if there is indeed any rain out there. Michael Rutter looking threatening to Kagayama coming into Old Hall there, but again not quite close enough to make a pass. Kagayama being pretty wide in there, quite defensive. And maybe now he is riding for JR, who knows? Well,
You've got to say that there can't be enough rain to stop this race. Stuart Higgs, even though if he'd left it just half a lap longer, we'd have been 2/3 distance in race 1, and therefore he could have declared it as a result. Nobody wants to hold up the programme by having a restart and a second parter, but Higgs, in the interest of safety, stopped that race, even though he could have hung on for a moment longer. I feel that if there was enough rain, if we'd seen enough rain around any part of this track in this race too, he would have had that flag out, especially since we've gone past the 2/3 distance.
One thing with Kagayama, when he's riding that full chat, he is at least sideways once per lap, and we just haven't seen that sort of pace from him in this race, so maybe he is 95%.
Look at the way he drove out that chicane, and he just gets on the gas, it leaps away from the Honda just there. I mean, Kagayama, I've said it so many times before, his motorcycle sounds totally different to JR's. When it's on the overrun, you can just hear it on our camera mics. They're just crackling away. It really sounds like a machine gun firing off.
I've got no idea what's going on there, but sometimes he does run lower gearing, so he's carrying higher revs into corners, which would make the engine management sound a little bit different. But as you correctly spotted at the last round, his exhaust pipe was a lot wider than JR's, and it would indicate that his engine is running leaner, using less fuel and more air.
Which would make it cackle like mad. Not to mention the kind of stuff it does in. Oh, there's a little bit of sideways.
There we go, yeah, it's almost. I mean, that's 96%.
Yeah, lap 15, lap 16 we're on now then. Just started lap 16, of course. 3 laps to go here. John Reynolds now with a 1.8 second lead over Yukio Kagayama, his teammate in second place, who has a lead over Michael Rutter, but you certainly can't go to sleep because Rutter certainly needs those 20 points of his to keep any hope of this championship alive.
You see the right side of Kagayama's tyre is pretty well chewed up, and the left side is as well. So maybe he's struggling a bit with rear traction.
Of course, we talk about this championship being just about over and done. I mean, 47-point lead going into the last round, but there's only 50 points available to John Reynolds. But you've still got practice and qualifying to get through, and warm-ups to get through as well. And you only need the silliest little get-off for some silly little reason, and the championship can be lost.
Well, we know it's not tempting any fate. JR is good at breaking his collarbone in practice, so
He's also
That
good.
one happened.
He's also great at riding.
Winning with it, broken.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd have to break both of them to make a difference, I think.
I think John Reynolds broke his collarbone at Donington. He would still race.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he'd have it bolted up overnight.
Well, he knows that he only has to get so many points over the course of the 2 days to make it work for him. So
he's certainly away with this one now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
1.8 seconds on the last lap.
And he's putting in classy times as well.
Yes.
1:37.9 compared with 38.5 and 38.7 from Kagayama and Rutter. I mean, they're good times for this pace of the race.
It certainly is. You know, Michael Rutter is giving it everything, but he's able to go with Kagayama, but not able to get alongside him or attempt to pass.
So we start lap 17, the penultimate lap of the race here for the Think British Superbike Championship. Not much left for us to do in the commentary position. Neil Mackenzie still has to work out his Think rider of the day, of course, and well, I've heard the man that he's considering giving it to, and I'm not disappointed but slightly surprised. That the thing is, he has this little inbuilt rule that he doesn't want to give it to the same guy twice during the course of the season, so that's just a little bit of an indication for those of you that hope you might get Neil Mackenzie's Think rider of the day. Forget it if you've had it already.
3 bottles of champagne, don't come easy. I don't want to spoil anyone. Give them 2 in a year.
Still it is, Reynolds out front. This is the battle for second place, and the championship, I've said it before, is slipping away from Michael Rutter, inch by inch, lap by lap. Reynolds, Kagayama, Rutter, your top 3 still. Emmett still in 4th place on the Monster Mob Ducati in a lonely ride. Dean Thomas is in 5th place. Riorichi Gianari in 6th place. Steve Plater, the best of the Virgin Mobile Yamahas, in 7th place. From James Hayden in 8th place, and Glenn Richards on the Hawk Kawasaki in 9th. In fact, there's not a lot going on anywhere down the order. It's exactly the same as it was the last time I looked. Kagayama with the fastest lap, 1:37.4. Currently, they're on 1:38.1s or thereabouts. That's JR, who's pulling away by something like half a second a lap every lap.
He certainly is, and Kagayama, I'd say, riding a tad defensively down the middle of the track there into Lodge, so Michael couldn't really go either side of him.
That'll come down to the fact that you spotted his tyre a little bit ragged on the edge perhaps, and Rutter looked for the inside, a hold hole, and that's second place. He needs that big time now. It's a case of Kagayama fighting back.
We'll see Kagayama using that tyre now.
I think we're in for some spectacular passing for Kagayama, but I can't believe he let Michael Rutter. Yeah, you can see that right-hand side of that tyre is absolutely stuffed. It looks awful on the right.
You see when he opens the throttle there, it's on its side, it's not responding, it's not gripping. Right on the edge, there's about an inch of it torn up, and that's not good for maximum angle grip.
Well, Rutter, the diminished returns will be 43 points for him, will be the difference between Rutter and Reynolds if it finishes as it is now. Well, there you've got to say, Yukio Kagayama has consolidated 3rd place in the championship with Scott Smart parked in the pits.
Yeah, it's good result for the Rizzlers.
Yeah, very good.
Kagayama, when he gives that bike the full beans, it doesn't want to grip, it just wants to spin up and buckle and get sideways.
Well, you spotted that tyre a long time ago, so it was the right thing to do. Still it is, Rutter.
He's still going to have a try, you just know he is.
Something else that's interesting as well, Michael Rutter. No holes in the side of the fairing in race 2. We saw the holes in the side of the fairing. There was a lot of side wind, a lot of wind out there in warm-up and the first race this morning, and they went out with like a prototype fairing on the bike, just cut a load of holes in it, and they've gone back out with a normal livery for race 2 today.
I'm not sure Kagayama was close enough for a pass into Lodge, Michael. I'm sure.
Not lunging from there. That's 30-odd yards back. If he'd have done that one, it'd have been diabolical. Over the line then, John Reynolds extending his lead still further, and he knows that he now is within sight of taking the Think British Superbike Championship.